Shanti. Good evening to those of you who are able to join us live, and also greetings to those of you tuning in later through the video. We'll be reading some part of a morally in a little while, linked with the blessing in today's morally, which
Mm.
was being able to not quite predict the future, but being able to anticipate when things are going to happen and making ourselves ever ready for that. So I thought it would be worth delving deeper into that topic. But before we do that, I wonder if any of you who are here would like to ask anything or would like to say anything.
I'm Shanti, brother. It's Carmen.
Good to
No,
see you, Sister.
thank you. Because I couldn't get on your page last night, I decided to go and do some of Sister Denise's meditation. And I'm so in, and this Merly today, the blessing talks about soul consciousness. Baba constantly talks about soul consciousness. And I've been practicing, but I know I'm not doing something right. But this morning, I heard her say, I wasn't listening 100%, but I heard her say, look behind the eyes. And I suddenly got a memory of having a vision of going into a crystal cave. And as I went into the crystal cave, I saw a lot of glass squares. And in front of the squares, there were faces. But I didn't want to see the faces. I wanted to go behind the faces. So I went behind the faces and I was looking out through the eyes. And as she said that, that memory came back, and I thought, wow, wow. And I listened to her meditation and I got a little piece of it. Oh, are you soul conscious, brother?
I'm, I am at this minute listening to you, yes.
Oh, it's such a beautiful experience. I actually became myself, the soul, and as she's guiding me, telling me what I'm telling the fingers by moving the fingers, my senses, and I was actually doing it, and I experienced it. It's such a beautiful place to be. And when I read the blessing, when Baba talks about knowing what's going to happen, I thought, I need this, because it's all one thing. The soul, controls the body. And I felt a little bit like I was Brahma when Baba is using his body to talk to us. So, what if anyone's here listening and they are soul conscious? It'd be interesting to hear what they have to say. But I think that's a very beautiful place to be, becoming soul conscious. It's wonderful. It really is. I can't share anymore because I was so excited. Oh, I've been practicing for a while, but I never ever got that piece back. But that memory of actually going into the crystal cave with the glass and the faces. Then I went behind the faces and I was looking out through the eyes, exactly as she was telling to me to do. And I realized I've done this before. And we have, haven't we?
You
Not,
have.
nothing
Well,
new.
I think you're good at conveying the excitement of Baba's knowledge. And it does remind me of when Baba and the daddies conveyed when they first received Shri Baba's knowledge. And the daddies didn't have as much detail as we have now,
Mm.
but this knowledge of the soul was the thing that they focused upon. And they do talk about it with that excitement and that feeling of blissfulness and
Mm.
feeling of peace. So they used to just walk around practicing that and reminding each other, are you soul conscious?
Yeah,
And doing it with happiness. So
yeah,
yeah,
yes.
I think for me where this experience leads is this feeling of permanence. So when as I think of myself as a soul, I feel myself as a soul. Like one way of spinning the discus of self-realization is to take yourself around the cycle.
Mm.
Baba talks about the five main forms of the soul in the incorporeal world,
Right.
the soul as a deity,
Mm-hmm.
the soul as a worshipped idol, the soul as a godly
Right.
student now,
Right.
and the
And an
soul
angel.
as an angel.
Mm.
And one way of spinning is we take ourselves around the cycle. But as we experience soul consciousness, my experience is that you begin to have more of a feeling that you are the one that's still. So from the rim of the cycle, you move to the center of the cycle. So the cycle is turning, time continues to move, the drama is happening.
Right.
But I, the soul, am the still continuity within this drama. So I am eternal. And the way Baba describes the golden age is that there's no experience of death. He says in some Muralis, there isn't even a word for death. And I suppose when we've had these mythologies of the land of immortality, it comes up in a few different traditions.
Mm.
This concept of heaven, having everlasting life, and so on. We tend to think of it as just one life. And a surprise we find in the Morally is Baba says the deities take rebirth.
Right.
But the more that this has grown for me, the clearer it has become that even though we might take 8 births in the Golden Age, 12 births in the Silver Age, I think the soul experiences it just as one continuum.
Ah.
Whereas in the Iron Age, it's traumatic. It's like an end and then a beginning, and it's a jarring experience.
Right.
But I think in the Golden Age, it's more like a river just flowing. And so this is my experience as this soul consciousness has grown, that I just feel I am the continuity of this drama. I am eternal. I am immortal. And, I will always be this permanent fixture.
Mm.
And the body will change, the relationships will change, the times will change, the societies will change. But I am still that soul that
No,
was there, the
no
beginning.
ending. No ending to me. There's no ending.
Mm,
Yes, I hear you, brother. I
So,
hear
but
you.
that's more my feeling, and it gives this sense of very deep stability
Right.
because it's not a fluctuation according to external stimulus,
Mm.
but it's this feeling of just being very ancient and being very permanent, and the changes having happened in the drama, but the feeling of being unchanging within.
Mm.
Thank you.
We're heading into a beautiful. Baba's taking us into a beautiful place. I just had that experience last night. Such a beautiful place.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing, brother. Thank
thank you.
you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to ask anything or say anything? Salu, been good to see you on the screen. Joanne.
Om Shanti, Divine Family. I am listening to you. I am driving home from work to home, and I didn't want to miss this occasion to be with you. Thank you. You are sending me, you are just like you are with me in the car, and soul consciousness is just like driving my body as I'm driving my car.
Mm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm.
Thank you.
Thank you for living that metaphor. Um,
Yes.
thank you. Would anyone else like to say anything or hear anything? Larry Bye, good to see you after so long. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm well, thank you. Good to
Wonderful.
see you too.
I think I saw you in the photo when they went to Madame's office. Did I recognize you correctly?
Yes, yes,
Oh,
I was part of the team that went.
okay, good, good.
Yeah, it was lovely. She
Yeah,
she she really said very good things about you. We already
she's
knew though.
she's a special soul, I think. So
Yes, she is. We
Larry
are
Boy,
we are expecting her on Friday.
yeah, wonderful. So
Mhm.
Larry Boy is based in Accra in Ghana, and I do some work out there. And one of my main connections is with the chief of the local government service. And they're doing one service program on Friday, and she is attending tomorrow. So, Larry, I wonder if you wanted to ask anything or say anything.
No, no, I'm fine. I just
Oh,
want to soak today's discussion.
okay.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, good to see
Thank
you.
you very much. Good to
You're
be
welcome.
here.
Okay, so as you can see, Ranjan Ben is here, and I'll let her take us through a few pages of one morally. This morning's blessing is an intriguing one because Baba tells us that the power of yoga can develop different spiritual capabilities. And on the path of devotions as well, different spiritual practices can also develop different spiritual capabilities as well. So there are many, many examples in different traditions of people who have some foresight. They have some ability to predict something, to like an oracle type of thing. Now, a lot of the time it can be just imagination, of course. It can be just invented. But sometimes it must be genuine as well. And that happens on the path of devotion. Baba gives us the method of soul consciousness and remembrance. We learn who he is, as he is, what he is, and we remember him with that accuracy of the introduction he gives us. Therefore, we are able to develop spiritual capabilities that are more enhanced and more reliable. So, what Baba was saying in the blessing today, these blessings are extracted from different moralities. And most of the time, we can understand them fine. Sometimes, because it's a small extract, you need a bit more context. You need a bit more explanation. So I think this one does need a little bit more. So I'll hand over to Ranjan Ben now to read a little bit of a morally from back in 1969. So let's start here. And it's quite long, so we won't read all of it, but we just read to them. Um, 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 yeah, just maybe towards the end of this page with the balloons. You need more light?
Om Shanti. Good evening to all.
Om Shanti. Om Shanti Siddhi.
Om Shanti. Nice to see you, Salma Ben. This is Avyakt Bapdada, and it is 23rd July 1969. So it was a few months after Baba ascended, became an angel. So this is Baba became an angel in 18th January 1969, and this is 23rd July 1969. The basis of success is the power of discrimination. So one of the 8 powers. The basis of success is the power of discrimination. What does Bap Dada see when he looks at each of you? Bap Dada is seeing 4 things in each of you. What are those 4 things? And then in bracket it says each one shared his ideas. So probably you have an idea in your own mind. See if you share that. What does Bap Dada see when he looks at each of you? Bap Dada is seeing 4 things in each of you. What are these 4 things? And then each one shared his ideas. Firstly, he is seeing the crown. Secondly, the throne. Thirdly, the effort. And fourthly, what comes after the effort? The fortune. So in Hindi, it's Purusharth is effort and Pralabdha is fortune. So how hard we make according to Baba Srimad, if we make our efforts, our fortune is great, So first you have to work and then your fortune is created. He is seeing these 4 things in each one. So it is the crown, the throne, effort, and fortune. What is the crown of the confluence age? Do you know that? So today, Bap Dada has come into the gathering of the children who are seated on the throne and who are also wearing a crown. Only those who are wearing a crown have been invited to this gathering. But each one's crown is different and according to his own capacity. Baba was seeing who had which crown and which throne at this confluence age, who is wearing a crown and whether it is a large crown or a small one, and whether they constantly wear it or whether they take it off and leave it aside sometimes. All of you know yourselves because you are the ones who are the specially chosen jewels. So God himself has chosen us. We were looking, but we couldn't have found him. So he came and chose us, selected us. So all of you know yourselves because you are the ones who are the specially chosen jewels. And so you must have at least that much recognition. Can you discern your effort and your fortune? So it is this power to discern and power to discriminate. So Baba says, can you fully discern yourself? For instance, if you went into the advance party, what would your fortune be according to your present effort? So fortune depends on the effort we make. Do you understand that? Do you know your present effort and your fortune? Only when you can recognize yourself can you recognize others. It is essential to know this because such a time is coming for which there will be a greater need for the power of discrimination. And we can see the time now in front of us, the situation of the entire world, that our brothers and sisters are suffering, even the elements, animals, everybody is suffering really. So this was in 1969. So how many years now? 30 and 56, 57 years. something like that. So it was 1969, that this Baba said, and that time when it was beginning, but we didn't realize it was so bad. But now we can see with our own eyes all those bombs and everything is happening. So now even we have to make greater effort and be with Baba more.
Yes.
Yeah. So only when you can recognize yourself can you recognize others. It is essential to know this because such a time is coming for which there will be a greater need for the power of discrimination. This is the method to attain success in service. As your power of discrimination becomes powerful, you will continue to have success. Because of your not being able to recognize fully, and because someone does not receive the method through which his fortune could open, there isn't so much success in service. So this is a checking when there is no success in service, then it's the lack of effort of or power of discrimination. What result is visible of those who do less service? So the sign now Baba says, many subjects are created, but not so many heirs are created. Very few heirs being created means that you were not able to perceive their pulse. So you can explain more after. Yeah, you will explain more after, perceive the pulse, feel pulse and air, create air. Baba would like us to create like ourselves, have those inculcation and everything Baba says, and then create the same quality. It's like a quality souls who can claim their inheritance from Baba. But first we have to have it in ourselves. When you are able to perceive a patient, now Baba is giving example of a doctor. When you are able to perceive a patient accurately, you are then able to give him the right medicine and the disease then finishes. What happens when the disease is finished? The Pandavas, who are the instruments, specially need the power to perceive whatever is to happen in the future. They also need the power to take decisions. So doctors have to make decisions. In the same way, we have to be able to. Baba started with the basis of success is power to discriminate and make decisions. After the power to take decisions, there has to be the power to, after that, what do the doctors do? They solve the problems. They give the right medicine. So we should be able to solve the problems. So Baba says, after you have after the power to take decisions, there has to be the power to solve the problems. Then you will be able to face anything. And after you have faced everything, you will attain the success of the revelation of the yajna. Means revelation of Baba, revelation of us, everybody. Why has Baba invited you? Everything has to be accounted for. You have been invited here so that you can learn the knowledge of going up and down a ladder. In which aspect do you have to climb up? Sorry. And in which aspect do you have to come down? You have caught hold of seniority, but even whilst being a senior, you are not able to instantly come down the ladder and be a junior. It is essential to be able to become a master in 1 second and a child in 1 second. In some cases, it is seen that when you have to be a child, you become a master. How can you become the form that is needed at any particular moment? You have been invited here to learn that. For example, when you are in a gathering for when something is to happen. So Baba is now explaining how to be a master and how to when to be a child. And so Baba is explaining that now. So Baba says, you have been invited here to learn that how to be a master and how to be a child. For example, when you are in a gathering for when something is to happen, at the time of giving your ideas, it is good to be a master. So give your ideas as a master. If, say, service plans are happening for Larry by tomorrow, there is a program, and so it's good he is here and he can practice that tomorrow. And so when you are in a gathering, when something is to happen at that time, giving your ideas, it is good to be a master. So give your ideas. However, in the gathering, when there is the question of something being made final by the instrument brothers and sisters, you should make your intellect like that of a child. So it's not to be insulted. Baba is warning us that don't have this, if your ideas are not accepted in the gathering, then just be a child, that there's benefit.
Yes.
And so, so you don't become upset and come down the ladder means, your stage, your soul consciousness, your higher stage comes down.
Cooperate.
You're not
Yes.
stable. And so as a child, just that, yes, there's benefit. I have given my idea. It can come into use some other time.
Right.
Start having good wishes for everything and be a child
Yes.
of Baba, obedient child of Baba. What is the qualification of being a child? Now, qualification of being a child? He will speak with great force about something, and then he will be totally free from waste thoughts about the same thing immediately. So, in the same way, you should make your intellect a master and give your ideas to those who are the instruments, and then instantly let your intellect become like that of a child. So basically, intellect has a arrogance and feeling being insulted and then being arrogant. Just like a child. Child forgets. So Baba, just put a full stop and start making your stage. Stay in your self-respect.
Right.
There is benefit in this. However, what is the result when someone becomes a master? Firstly, time is wasted. But if you are stubborn and say, no, my ideas are good and it should be implied. And so Baba is saying that first, time is wasted and even power is wasted. Then instead of love for one another increasing, there is a margin for it to decrease. Therefore, as your responsibilities increase, it will be essential for you to climb up this ladder and then come down again. So like now the responsibilities on all of us are increasing because Baba is really, really preparing us now the time to face everything. We each one of us will have to face a lot of things. In one Murli Baba said, each one will have to do the task of 10 Brahmins, because everybody will be rushing to you when they realize. So we have to be prepared for that. So Baba is giving, therefore, as your responsibilities increase, it will be essential for you to climb up this ladder and then come down again. So Baba is giving you these teachings in advance for success in the future. All of you are experienced in this. Whether someone is young or old, from time to time he tries to maintain his power and self-respect. As you progress further, there will be more obstacles. And this is why those who have become instruments will have to be very humble. To be humble means to renounce regard for the self. So these ones, obvious signals are humble and sweet. So first you have to be humble. When you are humble, you will be sweet.
Yes.
But if you have no humility, then you'll be insulted and shouting or angry, whatever. So sweetness, that Baba says, that sweetness is not there if you are not humble. Spiritual sweetness. As you progress further, there will be more obstacles, and this is why those who have become instruments will have to be very humble. To be humble means to renounce regard for the self. Baba gives us so many titles, so much respect. Stay stable on those seats. Like today, Baba saw us in our crown and throne, and so Baba and self-respect, and that will keep you stable. So to be humble means to renounce regard for the self. Through renunciation, you receive greater fortune. So in Hindi, there's a saying, Tyag se bhagya. When you renounce, like Brahma Baba renounced everything. Not even I did this or anything, even the renunciation of your giving up your, renouncing everything. He never boasted about it or anything. No such thoughts should come. And so then the greater fortune is there. So renunciation of renunciation, and then the greater fortune. The more you renounce, the more you will receive respect. The more you try to seek respect, the more it will become a means of losing respect. This is why you must increase the practice of going up and down the ladder of being a master and a child. This is why you have been invited here. So Baba reminded us so many times you are invited here. Even this was spoken in 69, but whenever we have this Murli, this is our inheritance we are getting from Baba now while we are reading this and we are together here. And so this is our inheritance we are getting from Baba at the right time in drama. So, just imbibe it, become the embodiment of it while listening. We all are students revising together, and Baba is there teaching us now. So that consciousness will also help. So Baba said, this is why you have been invited here. There will be success in this when you have the power to perceive situations. When you have perceived situations, the result will be good. When you don't perceive them, the result is going to be wrong. What is the effort to increase the power of discrimination? Now Baba came back to the discrimination, how to increase it. more than just cleanliness of the heart, you need cleanliness of the intellect. You should have the power to apply a brake to the power of thought. So the mind creates the thought and the intellect helps it, isn't it? Yeah. So intellect helps it. And so this is why if our intellect is clean, we will help mind also to create good thoughts. We just, Baba said, all the time have positive, elevated thoughts. Don't support a negative or wasteful thoughts. And this is why the cleanliness of the intellect is really, that means egoless. Baba gave us the gift of Nirakari, Nirankari, Nirvikari, incorporeal, viceless, and
Egoless.
egoless. Yeah. So Baba says, more than cleanliness of the heart, you need cleanliness of the intellect. You should have the power to apply a brake to the power of thought. So as soon as any thought, don't support that thought if it's not of use.
Right.
Just limited thoughts. Whatever thoughts you have in mind or whatever the intellect judges, so both need a powerful brake, and they also need the power to bend, means to mold according to situation. Be
Right.
humble, that is humble humility. Both these powers are most essential. This is called the power of remembrance or the angelic power. So this is good what the Baba has explained what the angelic power and power to remember is. Both these powers are essential. So power to judge and we both need powerful brake, means power of thought should be clean, and also to judge and not to allow, not to support negativity and wasteful. These are needed. And they also need the power to mold. Both these powers are most essential. This is called the power of remembrance or the angelic power. If you are not able to apply a brake, it is not good. And if you are not able to bend or mold, I suppose we can say, then also is not good.
No.
If you have the power to apply a brake and steer, you will not waste the power of the intellect. Means if you are able to steer away from the accident, you won't have accident, Energy will not be wasted. Instead, it will be accumulated. The more you accumulate it, the more your powers to discriminate and take decisions will increase. You should also practice this in the party when we are gathering and doing remembering Baba together. Then is the power of the gathering also helps. To what extent are you able to apply a brake and steer your mind and intellect? You have to check yourself. These are the two reasons why there are accidents. Bap Dada is giving this signal, especially to the Pandavas, Acha. So they were brothers. It's for Pandavas, but for all of us, Pandavas and Shaktis, we all are Pandavas and Shaktis.
Right.
You must have heard a lot in the party. So during the rainy season, so it is July and June, July, August in Madhuban. It used to be parties during the monsoon rainy season. So this is why Baba is mentioning party, because the power of gathering also. That's the time they get more time, to sit in remembrance. Otherwise, during the season when the children go to Madhuban, they are very busy. But this time they take to remember Baba and have parties together. You must have heard a lot in the party. It isn't that because you have heard a lot, it is difficult to stabilize yourself in the point form, bindu, the incorporeal form,
Mm.
and that practice needs all the time. The weakness of not being able to stabilize yourself in the point form is that the first lesson is not firm. So Baba gave the reason. The weakness is because of not being able to stabilize in that form, in Bindu, the point form. So the weakness of not being able to stabilize yourself in the point form is that the first lesson is not firm.
Right.
You should experience yourself to be a bodiless soul whilst performing actions. This practice throughout the day is very much needed. You have to be detached from practical matters and then come into action. The more experience you have of this, the more you will stabilize yourself in the point form. So, lot of practice over a long period. However, not so much attention is being paid to this. So when we get busy, Baba says we should also, when we are busy, we should have this attention.
Yes.
You say that you don't have the time, but you can make the time. If you have the aim, then just as when someone has to go somewhere for a special task, he pays special attention to make the time for it.
Right.
This is the one special task for the short time of the confluence age that remains. So confluence age is the shortest time in drama for us. That's why Baba is emphasizing to make time. So Baba says, this is the one special task for the short time of the confluence age that remains. If you consider it to be a special task and make the time in between, it can be possible.
Yes.
But because you don't have this practice, your time passes by in just thinking about it. So don't think, just do it. If it's good thought, do it, Baba says. If you pay attention, then as are your circumstances, accordingly, you can increase this practice. All of you are weak in this practice. So Baba has observed that this weakness is in majority.
Mm.
In fact, it is not difficult to stabilize yourself in the form of a point. Practice becoming detached. The point form is of being detached anyway. It is incorporeal and detached. So it is not body and soul. We need all that, but actually they both are separate.
Mm.
When you stabilize yourself in the stage of being incorporeal and detached, you will have the experience of the point form. Whilst walking and moving around, you will be able to experience the angelic stage. So, to experience angelic stage, this practice of being detached. Your practice will become such that you will be able to remain in the object stage whenever you wish. You will then be able to fill yourself with a lot of power in just 1 second experience.
Wow.
That's why Baba says we should take only 1 second Some, he says, not even a second, if you have more practice, that you should be able to fly to Baba and be detached. And you will also experience the powers of applying a brake and steering away, steering. To experience the point form is not difficult. This is the second time Baba said it's not difficult. It is just thoughts that bring you down. If you have the power to apply a brake to your thoughts, you will be able to remain in the avyakt stage for a longer period. You have to consider yourself as soul and remain stable in that stage.
So stop there.
Okay.
Would you like to share something?
થોડુંક વધારે છે virtues ને બધું વાંચો.
Long between.
So basically Baba is saying then you'll be able to have virtues and everything.
Would you like to share some thoughts?
No, I just shared. I don't know. To you, it's better you.
So we heard in this morally Baba's explanation as to how we can develop our discernment. Baba explains to us that ultimately success in life is about discernment and about decision making. If you think back, what is life? It was a series of decisions. Some of them you took well, some of them you will regret. Some of them you took your opportunity, some of them you missed your opportunity. And Baba is saying that now you want to become master knowledgeful. You want to become a self-sovereign. You don't want to be in that cycle of regret, but you want to demonstrate that you have these powers. Because what is leadership? Ultimately, leadership is about decision making. And Baba wants every Brahmin to be a self-sovereign. Self-sovereignty now creates world sovereignty in the Golden Age. Because Baba wants to be able to trust us with the leadership of the Golden Age. But we have to prove that now. And so Baba is saying to us that often we can be deceived by our own limited desires. We want regard, we want some sort of temporary achievement. And our focus is on that. And we are actually missing what's important. So if we want to discern well, we want to perceive well, we're going to need to come out of that cage of our own limited desires. So Baba is saying that actually those limitations will make your nature quite fixed, your mindset becomes quite fixed. And you will be then limiting what you can actually achieve. But as you learn how to utilize Baba's knowledge, Baba's virtues, and Baba's powers, your nature becomes less tight, less fixed, and it begins to become something which is more adaptable. So not only must you discern, not only must you decide, but you must also be able to implement. And if our nature is tight, fixed, we don't implement what we know we should. So Bam is saying that actually, if you think about it, what do you need to implement? Firstly, you're going to need a powerful break to your waste thoughts. Often, we don't do things because we think too much. We have too many extra thoughts. And this results in unnecessary noise. This unnecessary noise diminishes our discernment because we have so many thoughts. Then we end up sometimes doing nothing, don't we? We talk ourselves out of the things that we should be doing.
Mm.
So Bab is saying, check your break. Have you developed your concentration, your ability to think less? Because there's an inverse relationship. Too much thinking, less discernment. Less thinking, more discernment. Secondly, you're going to need ability to be flexible, adaptable, to be able to mold to the situation. If you're fixed in your mindset, you're fixed in your nature, you're then not able to be the virtue,
Mm.
to be the power that's needed in that situation. You've already limited yourself.
Mm.
But what Baba says is deities have all virtues. And we have to demonstrate that because Baba's study was about having all virtues, having all powers. So Baba's saying that if you have the ability, you are equipped with all the virtues, all the powers, then you will be able to discern what's needed now. So he gave the example of the master and the child. So sometimes our nature can be tight, it can be fixed, and we can only be a master. So if we can't control everything, we just can't do it. We have to control it. We have
Mm.
to be a master. We have to be bossy. We have
Mm.
to demand. We have to insist. But we all know that can't be successful all the time. It just cannot. So Baba's saying sometimes you're going to have to be a child.
Amen.
You have to go with the flow.
Mhm.
You have to be able to trust. You have to be able to view things with curiosity. You have to be able to want to explore the unknowns. Because the thing about controlling is we're actually afraid of things we don't know. We're afraid of things we can't control. But actually, there's so much we can't control anyway. So we might as well learn to live with that.
Mhm.
So he was giving that example, the master and the child, meaning you have to have the opposite quality and be able to discern, well, with this person, what do I need? With this situation, what do I need? Sometimes you have to be the master, you have to lead, you
Yes.
have to decide. Other times you have to be willing to follow, you have to be part of a team. And it's a lot about discerning your role in a particular moment. For example, someone else is leading and I'm refusing to let them lead. I have to lead. Then actually it just becomes unhelpful to everyone. Sometimes we just got to follow. You got to let others lead.
Yes.
And that in itself is leadership. Actually, if the following is the leadership.
Yes.
So Bible says to us that children, have you got that adaptability? So if you want to perceive things well, you're going to need the knowledge, you're going to need the virtues, and you're going to need the powers. So Bible said you have to know yourself. Have you got these things? Because to the level you discern yourself, to that level you'll be able to perceive others, perceive a situation, and get it right. Otherwise, you might perceive correctly, but you haven't equipped yourself.
Mm.
So you haven't got the virtue that's needed. You haven't got the power that's needed. So that as well will not be successful. So if you've discerned yourself, you've equipped yourself, then you're going to need that ability to control your thoughts, put a break, don't think too much, and then have that ability to adapt. If you have all this, you can then perceive things properly. So you'll be able in advance to know what you need to do, what you need to be, or what you need to not do.
Mm.
Now, in most cases, that's just our day-to-day lives. Occasionally, could be crucial, could be a really crucial decision, critical decision. Sometimes situations come like that in the drama, and you have to take an important decision.
Yes.
So, Bud is saying you're going to need that preparation
Mm.
to do that, because at that time you can't get it wrong. And I was talking with a business person just last week or the week before, and they're involved in property, and they were saying to me that there was this the officers that he was talking to, and when they do health and safety, they have this policy that if a fire or something breaks out in a tower block, they tell all the residents to stay inside. And they've changed that policy. That's what they told him. He said, well, thanks for letting me know, but isn't that obvious? Like, your tower is on fire. Why would you stay inside? Like, it doesn't. But this is actually a policy.
My goodness.
And within the BK family, the most famous example of this would be Brother Ram Prakash, who lives in New York. He lives in Peace Village in New York State now, but he was in New York City for a lot of years. And those of you who are older Brahmins, you would have heard his experience. I think it's on YouTube as well somewhere.
Mm.
Brother Ram Prakash was working in the World Trade Center when the planes hit it on 9/11, 2001. And he was in the second tower. So the plane has already hit the first tower, and they're in the second tower. And he's about 20 floors up, I think. And the warden says, stay where you are. But at that moment, the brother's mind was clear. And the thought in his mind was, get out. So he didn't listen to the warden. He walked down the stairs 20 flights, and about another 20 people followed him. And they all survived. No one else survived.
Wow.
So it's an incredible story. And the brother would have been with Baba about 25 years. He's one of the first students at the New York Center. And so you can see that as probably our most significant and critical example in the BK family.
Yes.
If you've accumulated over a period of time, you've had your Amrit Velas, you've had your Murlis, you've practiced during the day, you don't know when a critical situation will come your way, but at that moment, you can't have too many thoughts. You can't have, you've got to be flexible inside yourself.
Mm.
you got to get it right. So the brother got it right. He saved himself, saved others. So we don't know when these things. Salva Ben was on the call earlier, and they had a earthquake in Morocco about 2 years back, quite close to where she lives. So, we don't know when these things will come our way. But you got to get it right. And so Bev is saying in today's blessing, you got to be able to perceive what's going to come.
Mm.
And so I thought this morally would help us just give a little bit extra context and layers and texture to this morning's blessing. Do you want to add anything? You want to
Me? No. All I was thinking about last week's Murli was only about self-sovereignty, and so Baba has been talking a lot too about self. First, we have to be self-sovereign, ruling and controlling power over the self, and remaining in self-respect all the time, and being with Baba. And this was very good, powerful Murli if we practice it, and Baba gives us a lot. And just follow Baba's Srimad and more in silence.
Mm.
Okay, thank you. If anybody else, now give chance to them. If anybody has anything, we have 10 more minutes before traffic control. If you have anything, anybody, it's a good chance.
Probably everyone's digesting.
Yeah, there's a very rich food Baba gave us.
Quite a lot in today's morning.
Yes.
So I hope that clarified
Yeah,
some points.
and
And I think it's just for us, the main thing is keep your routine first, very solid.
Yes.
Because if we are not having our Amrit failures, we're not having our morally, then it just never really develops in a consistent way. We're sort of always struggling and battling inside ourselves. But it's that consistent routine that makes us victorious. So that would be my first advice. Get that right, get that accurate. Then a lot of the morally is very much about iron. Yeah. Hello, Shannon. So this thing about cleaning the heart, that's really what we're doing at Amrit Vela as we're hearing the morally. We're cleaning the heart. But what Baba was saying is that just having good intention is not enough, is it? Just being a good person, it's not enough. We're going to need to really show mastery. So
Yes.
the first thing is filling ourselves. And Baba's been talking about that this last week, that you've got to fill yourself, you've got to become full. And on Sunday, he used the title, which is, I think, one of my favorite titles, Become a Jewel of Contentment.
Yes.
Because this thing about thinking too much is linked with that as well, isn't it? A jewel of contentment is silent.
Mm.
And the more full we become, the more silent we become inside. We don't have so many things. It's not like you're battling with lots of thoughts. It's just that the mind doesn't create that many thoughts anymore. And there's not the range of emotions anymore in the mind because the heart has become healed.
Yes.
And as you all know, my method has always been long Amrit Velas. That's been the key to
Yeah.
healing and cleaning the mind. I was saying when we met Sister Jayanti that for some years the Amrit Vela was really about healing. And then I would say about cleaning. And now most of that has been done. So for me, it's about accumulating. And Baba said in this morally we heard just now that you want to reach a point where you can actually take a lot of power just in 1 second.
Yes.
And Baba said that to us the previous Sunday as well, that if you're up at Amravela every day, he gives you the blessing of power. So it's like a capacity that we have to develop in our mind and intellect to be able to absorb more from Baba in a short space of time. So this is what we need to do. So first, structure yourself in terms of your routine. That routine becomes the support of everything else that we do and support of our stage. And then we want to really know the Murlis very well, because part of discerning is going to be knowledge. We need what would Baba say? What would Baba do? We need to know that very well. And then it's about that chart of yoga. Baba's been telling us this week, the 8 hours are important, because if we haven't got that quantity, then how will we control the mind? I mean, we're going to need a lot of yoga just to get the mind disciplined and focused. So let's all of us just bit by bit make sure all of that is in place, accumulate, and then our preparedness will be greater. So we'll have the virtues, we'll have the powers, we'll have the points of knowledge ready to implement. Okay, so let's stop there and have a few minutes of Baba's remembrance. Let's go back to the live feed of the Tower of Peace, and with the vehicle of our mind, let's travel to Madhaban for our nighttime yoga. Shanti.
Shanti. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Ranjin. Thank you.